Hi, my name is Richard Mumford. I'm with Climbing Innovations, and it is really my honor today to be able to finally put out the Hitch Hiker X. It's been a long time coming, and I owe a great bit of appreciation to Paul Cox for allowing me to put out this Shackle version of his Hitch Hiker. It's a great climbing tool. I've always liked it. I put it to the side for a little while, but it's always been a favorite of mine because of its functionality. I'm also very grateful for Kevin Bingham for coming up with the Slic Pin concept, and the Hitch Hiker X is incorporating a shackle with a Slic Pin. This video is going to be a safety video and a specifications video. It's not going to come with a pamphlet in 8 different languages that's 10 pages long, and nobody seems to be able to really understand what the concept was or what's required and things. But so I'll try to stick to the safety aspect of this. There's going to be another series of videos. I'll talk about tying the friction hitches. I'll talk about tying the stopper knots. I'll talk about using the Slic Pin and the function of the Slic Pin. I'll talk about how the shackle works and tending the shackle. But for now, I'm going to just a brief introduction of the Hitch Hiker X and a short explanation of safety features. So, starting out with the safety of the Hitch Hiker, your life support is your friction hitch. Just like on a Blake's hitch, just like on a doubled moving rope technique, your life support is on that hitch. The Hitch Hiker X can use any number of types of friction hitches as long as they are appropriate materials for a friction hitch. They need to be between 8 and 10 millimeter size, as the holes in the dog bone are 10 millimeter. The connection on one side, the side that doesn't ever get disconnected, I prefer a double overhand stopper knot. It's the easiest to tie, in my opinion, the most secure, and it's also easily verified because, like a Alpine butterfly, it has parallel side and it has a cross on one side. Make sure that you have about a 2-inch tail. On this side, my preferred knot, now you can also tie a double overhand stopper knot. You can tie Paul Cox's stopper knot, which is a derivative of the double overhand stopper knot. I prefer a stevedore stopper knot, and I'll do a video on how to tie it and why I prefer it. The dog bone is made of 70-75 aluminum. The body of the Hitch Hiker is made of 60-61 aluminum. You'll notice that it's also a little bit larger than the Hitch Hiker 2. And remember that this is also a giant heat sink for the friction that's coming from both the pin and the dog bone. So being aluminum and wanting to dissipate the heat that's coming off of that, the size, in my opinion, is not a negative. The Hitch Hiker overall is a very compact unit. It doesn't have to reach over the top of the friction hitch to function. I'll do another video on all of the positive aspects and positive function of the Hitch Hiker and the many things that it will do that other climbing devices won't do. What I love about this is that I finally got a shackle that is satisfactory for life support, and it uses a consistently shaped pin for the function of all of the aspects of the Hitch Hiker, and it is a 4-function life support Slic Pin, and I'll do a video on engaging and disengaging this. There's a couple little techniques that make it easier, But it takes 4 distinct actions in order to engage and disengage the pin. When you climb, you need to make sure that those pins are completely through the shackle. Once through the shackle, they're not going to go through that shackle without you intentionally pushing on that pin and releasing those. Tending the Hitch Hiker, I'll sell one version that has the Rock Exotica swivel carabiner. I strongly recommend that the shackle be connected with a captive eye. Also, in this configuration, your rope bridge or whatever connection you have here maintains alignment with the climbing line and the spline or the back of the hitch hiker. In this configuration, the rope will tend easily across that pin. One option for those that absolutely, and I know you're out there, do not want to climb on a swivel. If somebody wanted to use a ring, I recommend a small ring. It keeps everything compact and tends very well against the back of the hitch hiker. My recommendation is that it needs to have some kind of a captive eye so that if you put just a regular carabiner through here, you get all kinds of sloppiness, and it needs to have a captive eye against this shackle. Okay, let me try to talk about the specifications. This is a polyester, low temperature, BOA, friction cord made by Marlowe. It's about 10 millimeters. This is Viper, also made by Marlowe. It's about 9 millimeter. It's a high temperature Technora or Vectran type cover. What I sell will be 4.5 feet long. You can trim it as needed, but it'll give you plenty of friction cord for tying whatever friction hitch you like. I'll do a demo or a video on how I do the little whipping on here to help pull that through the dog bone. It's especially valuable on the cords that are about 10 millimeters so that you can easily get that through that dog bone and keep it neat. The dog bone, the pin on the dog bone is just over 12 millimeter. Like I said, the eyes in those dog bones is about 10 millimeters. The width there, if that means anything to anybody, is 27 millimeter. This is made of 70-75 aluminum. The body of the hitch hiker is 25 millimeters, almost around an inch. The inside slot is just over 16 millimeters. It has a curved shape in the body. This is what we call the spine or the back of the hitch hiker. On the other side, it's curved to help match and maintain roundness in your climbing line. The top slot is designed so that the dog bone fits in there but won't come out when the hitch is engaged. When it's all the way back, there's approximately 16 millimeter space. So you can see that you've got about a 16 by 16 millimeter space for a climbing line. When it's all the way down and as close to the spline as possible, that's about 5.5 millimeters. Gives you an idea of what kind of what size of a climbing line. Now obviously, if you put a really small climbing line in here and this bottomed out, then you're not going to get friction and function from the hitchhiker. But you will still get life support from your friction hitch. Remember, your friction hitch is your life support. The hitchhiker is a connection to your life support that also adds function to it. So the bottom slot is designed so that it fits the pin of the Slic Pin. This Slic Pin put things down. This Slic Pin is 9.9 millimeters in diameter, and the distance from the shoulder to the plunger is just over 41 millimeters. You can see that that fits right through that slot very comfortably, but there's very little slop between that. In other words, this slot right here is 10 millimeter. Well, right there, say 10 millimeters. And again, the pin is 9.9 millimeters. So there's very little slop in there. Makes it kind of nice because by rotating, this is a video I'll do, but by rotating the pin in there, you can remove the slot. Now obviously when it's completely engaged and the shackle is on there, all the rotation in the world won't disengage that shackle. Let me put that on so that it's in the proper position. So again, when the Slic Pin is engaged, it's a positive engagement. It takes 4 actions to be able to release all these plungers, and this pin may or may not turn, but regardless of how much it turns, it will not disengage the plunger. So just like that, if I only come out this far, I can get the climbing line in and out, but yet the shackle doesn't fall off. To take it all the way out, I give it another turn and take it out. The length of this shackle, let's go the full length of the shackle, is about 75 millimeters. The eye on the swivel carabiner is big enough that it will accommodate several carabiners if you wanted to do another connection on here. So you can have the shackle on here, and you can do another carabiner if you wanted to do multiple connections. The eye on this is just over 25 millimeters. That's for fun. If I could do this without knocking the camera. On one other note while I'm talking about it, this is the back of the hitchhiker. When you're climbing, you want the back of the hitchhiker to be facing you. In other words, you're here and the hitchhiker is facing that way. So there's another connection. See if we can put one more in here comfortably. So there's actually it's not real comfortable, but there's 3 connections. There's 3 connections on that swivel. Those that want to be crazy enough to use 3 connections.